if you're not getting into AI, you're just going to be left behind. And the more you get into it, the more you realize it can do, etc. Are we just going to get eaten alive by the next upstart that's somehow got a bit further along with the automated development of these solutions and the new technologies coming where, we'll all be the AI thing, like the massive layoffs. Women like men just as much as men like women. I think that's something I wish I knew sooner, but I always thought to be, the opposite. It's like you're trying to get them to do you a favor, come on this date with me or whatever, but they're actually also out there.
Running a business can feel lonely, especially when the decisions get heavy. Welcome to CEO Risk Pro by Saurabh Jain. Practical insights from the boardroom and the meditation cushion. I'm Saurabh. I've done 10,000 hours in 3 major parts of my life. I've spent 10,000 hours being a CEO, 10,000 hours being a board member, and 10,000 hours meditating. What we're going to do in each episode is really unpack a real business challenge that a CEO is facing and see if we can work through it together. Enjoy. Hi, g'day guys. Welcome to another episode of CEO Risk Pro. Today I've got David from Fast Automation with me. David, do you want to tell me a bit about yourself?
Yeah, g'day. I'm the CEO of a company called Fast Automation. We use automation and robotics to help our customers do more for less, better, safer, and faster. And what started it as a one-man band in 98, it was just me for about 10 years. And then started to scale. So we're up to about 40 people now, turning over about 20 million. And, the play on words is we're 28 years old and we've done nearly 2,000 projects.
Okay, brilliant. Awesome. So the way these podcasts work is we talk through an issue that's currently causing you some grief and we'll workshop it together. So what's top of mind for you right now?
Well, I knew you were going to ask me that, so I came up with 5 issues, so maybe we could prioritize them. So the first one, which is probably being done to death on here, is how to embrace AI and get AI adoption quickly. Obviously, that's very prevalent. I think that if you're not getting into AI, you're just going to be left behind. And the more you get into it, the more you realize it can do, etc. The other one is a little bit boring, but it's just about labor costs and how to manage labor costs. Obviously, a lot of people have got different strategies and the government's doing certain things and it's just very expensive. So how do you compete when you've got all that going on? My third one was customers just don't get it. We meet customers all the time. They want to innovate. They want to have robotics. They want to have automation. They want to use AI. They want to do things better and take advantage of technology. And you lay it all out for them, but for some reason they're just not getting how crazy good it is and procrastinating and not moving forward.
And then they don't buy. That's the problem.
Don't move forwards.
Yeah. Okay.
And then how do you scale a technical business was number 4. I was thinking, I got a great business, but it's very technical. You can't just sort of take generic bods and put them on. So I'm quite entrenched in it. And, that I'm probably very complicit in my own problems in that regard. But I always thought it wouldn't be too easy it would be quite easy to scale, but I'm just having trouble with that. And then along those lines, number 5 was about empowering staff, about getting more engagement and ownership, and then transitioning. How do I transition from being so active in the business to be more of an owner and an overwatch?
More like a non-exec kind of role.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Okay. So empowering staff and transitioning. Okay, so we've got a couple options. Embracing IT, so embracing AI, labor costs. Customers don't just get it. Like, how do I sell more stuff to customers? How do I scale a technical business? And then how do I empower my staff so I can go step out and spend less time in the business?
Perfect. 5 out of 5.
What's the most important one to you?
Oh, you're going to make me prioritize.
I'm going to make you pick one. And I'm going to ask you why we're picking that one.
Yeah, I'll definitely go with AI adoption. I thought you might not want to do that one, though, because you've probably done it to death.
I've done it a couple of times, but I find everyone has a bit of a different lens to it. Let me ask you another question, though. If you could solve one of these 5 things and you had 100% guaranteed success that you were going to be able to do it, which one would you pick?
Yeah, that's pretty clever. Um, so what I'm thinking there is that everyone's going to crack the AI adoption, and hopefully we're just the first. But that's a short runway, right? Because everyone's going to catch up. So then, what do you need to have if you haven't got that? I think probably scale.
Scale a technical business?
Yeah, mm, tough one. Or why can't customers get it? I'm going to go through all of them, but um, I think the runaway labor costs though is interesting. It's kind of solved by the AI adoption. Um,
Though again, if you knew 100% you're going to succeed, which one would you solve?
yeah, transitioning out, I think.
I would have guessed that. I would have guessed
It's
that.
pretty obvious,
Because
yeah.
if you solve that, you kind of would have had to have somewhat solved everything in the company, right?
Mm,
Everything in the company that you currently touch.
mm, yeah. But then I wonder, how much do you want the things that you think you want really?
Why don't we start with that? And we'll start with why do you want to transition out after we get a bit more context. But do we make that the first one, right? Like, I think it's less about empowering staff. It's more about transitioning out effectively
Mm-hmm.
in whatever format that looks.
Cool.
Does that sound right?
Yeah.
So how would you word it? What would be your words for that transitioning out kind of query?
So
What would you call it?
So like how do I um never work again and live in the lap of luxury?
Yeah.
Um yeah. What language do you want around that?
Perhaps words you might consider is, how do I monetize what I've built over 28 years and not have to work full time?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Because you want to do a couple of things. You want to not work full time, but you still want to make a lot of money, right? Like you want to fund the lifestyle that you're used to,
Yeah,
or
well,
is that not a thing for you?
it comes back to why, right? So, I think for me, my why is, and hopefully it's similar for a lot of people. When you ask yourself why you're doing things, I think it's for your kids. It's, you want to make their life easier and try and provide for them, and make them have a good life. So I think it's altruism a little bit. I mean, altruism is very good, very rewarding. Imagine, you saved some kid from a burning house. How good we
Yeah,
feel.
be amazing.
It's great. Yeah. So that's why. And what's the best way to get that to happen? Is it to let inflation work its magic and just have the revenue come in, the profit come in and get dividends all the time, or is it to take a payday and sit safely somewhere on a few slow burn assets? I don't know.
Yeah. But before you even do that, how do you transition out?
Yeah.
How do you?
So
So what would be the wording that you'd use for the problem statement? So this is on that magical letter that you write, and it's guaranteed to come true. Well, what would be the wording you'd write?
how do I make sure the company continues to grow without my involvement and delivers financial freedom? I guess there's two paths. There's one is you just exit, you just take some money and run, and the other is you sit back and
Pick up dividends on the way through.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, do we make it very narrow? How do I make sure the company grows without me?
Yeah.
And then whether you exit, whether you stay non-exec, well, that you can figure out later on, because that's probably just a really simple equation about how much it's worth to sell, how much it's worth to run.
Yeah, simple.
What do you reckon?
How do I make the business grow without me?
Yeah,
There you go.
done. Okay, give us some context. So, how did you end up here? How did you end up with fast automation? Where did you start your career off?
Well, historically, my parents divorced when I was about 15 or 16, and my mum was very keen for me to get involved with, these new fandangled computers and
Well,
electronics.
what year would that have been when you were 15?
Oof. 87.
87. Oh, so you had the first set of computers coming out back then, probably.
Yeah, I was into it. Like, I loved it. So parents divorced, went to a street house. I was from a farm, and I really enjoyed living on the farm, doing all the farm stuff. But yeah, then I was next to a technical college, so I got into that and studied I did a BTech diploma in electronics and computer technology. It was great fun. Loved it. Then went to uni, did a double degree in digital systems engineering with management. And then that was it. It was just traveling. So I got a one-way ticket to Bangkok, picked up a working holiday visa for Australia, and then ended up here as a
How did you make that decision? So you've your parents divorced, your mum by herself. How many siblings did you have back then? What do you have?
four. There's four
Four.
of us in total. So I had an older sister and a younger brother and sister.
Yeah.
Quite a divide. So there was 7 years between my younger brother and sister and my close sister and I.
Okay. So how did one make that choice? So you would have been, what, 18, 19 at the time or something?
Yeah, I just couldn't wait to go. I was like,
Why is that?
I don't know. The northeast of England wasn't the greatest place. And there's quite a hierarchy in England. You know, like you can't just have a business. You know, you know, who are you kidding, mate? You're 20 years old. You know, we're not going to trust you. There was a few shows on TV, you know, about neighbours and how great Australia is. When I was younger, my dad used to have cricket professionals from Australia come and stay with us. So thinking aloud, that might have influenced me. I always thought they were really cool,
Yep. The
cool
Aussies were a
dudes.
cool
Yeah,
bunch.
cool dudes. And so when we were at uni, we always thought, I was in a little, you know, friends group, and we always thought, oh yeah, let's travel the world together, we'll go on an adventure. But I was the only one. No, they all chickened out. But eventually I persuaded them to join me, which was good. So I don't know why. I just always felt like the grass was greener in the northeast of England. There's not a lot of opportunities, very working class. There was shipbuilding and coal mining. It was all closing down, high unemployment. That
What
kind of thing.
about where you were made you feel like you didn't fit? Like, what was it about there that made you want to get out?
Well, it's not like a tech hub, is it? The northeast of England. um, yeah, I just always thought, you know, let's go and explore. Let's see what's out there.
Okay. And was that normal in like your family to go out and
No,
do super,
nah.
because it's a super high risk thing, right?
No, nobody else did it. I went back after a year and a half or so, and everyone was like, "We can't believe you did it! Like that's crazy." They all thought I was mad. Yeah, so not common at all.
And I'm just trying to, because I do want to understand that, because often I find those things quite, they explain a lot about someone. I really want to say, like, why did you do it? Because it's not normal in the family to do. Um, you've, you're living with a single mum, I imagine, so probably you have some level of financial stress as well.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
So probably most people have financial stress. They go try to work straight away, right? They try to go make some money. The last thing they do often is go off and travel. What made you do that?
Well, I suppose there's probably you know, if you start work, that's the beginning of the end. It seemed like a prison sentence to me in a way. I was pretty keen to take off. I did meet some people that had traveled, and I did read a few books about it, and it seemed like it was fairly low risk. You know, like you could make money here and there. I did put a lot of kudos on my education, and I thought, you know, I'm done quite good things, and I could get a job easily. But obviously, every graduate thinks like that, but it's not the case, is it? You don't really know much at all.
Every millennial still thinks like that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Trust me, I'm great. No, you're not.
Let,
But there was a few other things there. There were
yeah,
other
what were they?
factors. Yeah, I was quite adventurous. I was into sailing, and I always thought the world was this, you know, great big wonderful place. I did read a book by Robin Knox Johnson, which was called A World of My Own, where he sailed around the world single-handedly, and I always thought that was so cool. Obviously, I couldn't do that without, you know, but this was the next best thing. So hopefully that somewhat answers your question.
Well, you've told me all the stuff you were chasing, which makes total sense, right? It's like a 19-year-old, travel the world, go to another country, meet new people. What were you escaping from?
Um, Boredom, a cold, wet place, a life in a rat race of just, you know, literally millions of others trying to do the same thing at once. Yeah. I think it was a bit of escapism.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you were trying to get away from the mediocrity of life there.
Yeah, I suppose if you're playing out all these fantasies as a young guy about what could happen, you're drastically increasing your odds. If you know that what you've got on offer where you are isn't that great, just by flicking the
Going
coin.
somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you buy a one-way ticket, super ballsy. You buy a one-way ticket to Bangkok. What happens? How long did you stay in Bangkok for?
Well, I can remember talking to somebody, but I can't remember who it was now. And they said, "Oh, it's dead easy. Go to Hong Kong. Once you start running low on money in Southeast Asia, get across to Hong Kong." And I did quite a bit of work before I left. I was doing a lot of laboring and things. So I'd saved up
Okay,
what I
saved up
thought
some
was a
cash. Okay.
fortune. It was like £500 or something. It's nothing, but I thought it was a lot. And yeah, and Thailand was really cheap. Like I can remember thinking it's $4 a night, and I'm living like a king near a beach and eating all this great food and stuff like that. So that was great. But then, slowly the money starts to wear out, and I thought, right now it's my time to go and get a job. So I made my way across to Hong Kong, and that was horrible. That was like the world gone wrong.
In what sense? Well, what happened?
Well, I stayed in this place called the Chung King Mansions. I've been back there to look at it a couple of times. And the room was literally smaller than a bath, and you lifted up your bed to have a shower, and you couldn't lie straight. And I was paying like $40 a night or something, like 10 times more than I was to live on a beach in Thailand. And couldn't get a job. I just thought it's dead easy. I'll walk in a bar and I'll be earning a fortune serving beer, and I'll eat for free and things like that. But I had this real pride issue as well. Like, I had to destroy my ego before I realized that people weren't going to give you things to a degree. So that didn't work out. And then I fell back on plan C or whatever it was by landing in Australia in
Yeah.
Cairns.
So you still had enough money to get to Australia?
Very little money. I can remember being down to like my last $20, but I was lucky. I got a job at a pretty cool place. It was called IME Power Systems in Cairns. It was like the major business in that location. And they gave me a job to do some programming.
And you were a developer, like
I was terrible at it, but I was learning as fast as I could. I think I was the only backpacker in the hostel that had a company car and a laptop and a phone and an American Express card. I remember that being pretty handy. So yeah, I got really lucky in that.
How did you get that job?
Was an advert in the paper, and I just applied, and I think the guy felt sorry for me, to be honest. He's an engineer, and he asked me a few technical questions which I could answer, thankfully, but I think they were just stuck. I just don't think they had a better offer. Maybe that was it.
Yeah.
And then I remember leaving because you had a restriction on your visa, how long you could stay. My friends had arrived by this time. And the engineer I was handing over said to me, "You've booked," I can't remember what it was, like 500 hours to this, and this is all you've done. And I was like, yeah, well, I was kind of learning on the job, But he was a nice guy. He's like, yeah, don't worry, off you go. So,
Okay, nice. And so how did it work for you? Then you had to go work in a farm or something back then, was it? Or
yeah,
same
well,
as now?
yeah, wow, we're going places. So by this time, my uni friends had joined me, but they were more cashed up holiday mode, kind of less about the work. And we came down, we did the east coast of Australia, we ended up in Sydney, tried to get jobs again, and it was hard for some reason. And we ended up going fruit picking in a place called Leeton, which is on the border of New South Wales and Victoria. And
Okay.
you just rocked up to like the job centre place, Centrelink or whatever it's called, and the farmers would come by and pick you up. And we had this, I don't want to digress into a funny story, but we had this guy that picked us up. He was an Italian guy, and oranges were tiny. We were picking oranges, and it took like forever to fill a bin up. And then you'd walk into town, to get some food and walk back, and you'd realize you're actually losing money while you're working so that was pretty tough. So guys quit, and I was the last one left, but I was lucky. Changed farmers, and the oranges were really big, and it was dead easy. Saved up some money and came back and tried again, and I got a job pretty quickly serving food at the university canteen. and that was great. It was good. But I can remember speaking to some of the students, because you get talking to them, and they realized that I had, pretty good qualifications, and had ended up serving food to them, which wasn't great. Um, but then again, I got a technical job, and that was really good, and they loved me. They exploited me a little bit, but that was fair enough. And they sponsored me to get permanent residency, and that was it. Just once I got that, started a
And that takes you
company
back
to
to about
contract.
98. Is that around then?
Yeah, 98. That's
And what
right.
made you start fast automation? Why not keep working with somebody
Well,
else?
it was just a vehicle to contract under, and the advice was to incorporate a company, and it was factory automation systems and technology, and because that's what I'd been working.
And was contracting, is it like now we do like 12-month contract, so it's almost like a jobbish, is it? Or was it
Well,
different back then?
well, I realized that the hourly rate was something like a five-fold increase on the salary you would get, and that was enough for me. It's just
Yep,
like
the maths was
forget
simple.
everything else. Yeah, but it
Okay.
wasn't that
So
easy.
you had me at 5x kind of thing.
Yeah. Um, would it be five? Yeah, probably five. I don't know. Like, you're charging $120 an hour or something, and if you're on a salary, you're getting 30, something like that. And obviously, you get some quite sweet deals when you specialized. So yeah, then I was pretty lucky. It was hard at first, and it wasn't my vision. But I got three sort of back to back pretty good contracts. One for AstraZeneca, and that was great. It was to assist with the development of these automated suites, which manufacture injectable solutions. So there's lots of sequencing steps. It's sort of state and transition logic, lots of reporting and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed that. It was good. And then I was contracted directly to AstraZeneca, but then they wanted to, use me more as an external company. And so then it was sort of fixed price work after that, which was good. And I went from that to working for Siemens Airport Logistics, which was a fantastic job. It was a $70 million project that they were doing at Sydney Airport to make them 100% check bag screening. So they put in a lot of X-ray machines, and they needed to get the X-ray results, but not lose track of the bag that it belonged to, and divert it off if it had
So
suspect
what
stuff.
about you got you these gigs? Because you've kind of come to the country, not a lot of experience, you're still really young, but these sound like pretty legitimate gigs. How did you get them?
Just think I was really lucky, you know. So obviously AstraZeneca was kind of a little bit of a salary sacrifice to get in with some of the best engineers of the world and see how you do really top end stuff. And what was lucky about that was I was working with Siemens technology, which is, was very up and coming and probably the best at the time. And not many people were working with that. A lot of people were with some other technologies. And without boring you with all of that, the other thing was it was a very regimented engineering approach. So there's this thing called ISPE, the International Society of Pharmaceutical Engineers, and they've really put a lot of effort and work into how you go about doing engineering projects. So they've got a V model methodology and all the steps and all the QA and the quality and then all the different phases. And they have a thing called the traceability matrix, so you can track that all the requirements get through and tested and yeah, it's just really good way of doing things. And then after that, when you meet somebody and they start to ask you how you would do things, they realize you've got game and you know what you're doing and you've worked with the best. And so I was pretty lucky in that regard. So yeah, I was managing quite a lot of software engineers and making a big impact and difference on this project. Then after that, I had another project with BOC gases and anyway, those three companies. So Siemens gave me a lot more projects, but then Sydney Airport, which was where the main project was, wanted to engage me as well as a consultant. And so yeah, it was basically AstraZeneca, who are now one of our biggest clients. We've always got projects with them and guys there full time. Sydney Airport, same story. We've got guys there. We've got projects with them, lots of work. And we also are engaged with other companies that do work for Sydney Airport. And BOC Gases, Not so much, but we did have quite a journey with them. We did over 70 projects with them. So I think I was just lucky with those first steps that one thing led to another.
So you, you started off in 98. How long before you had your first employee at Fast?
2008, 10
2000.
years.
It took 10 years.
Yeah.
Was it? Did that take too long, or did that take just the right amount of time?
I think it took too long. I was always probably looking back a bit of a control freak. And yeah, I was very lucky. I was very grateful. I am very grateful actually for the guy that joined me. He was I met him on a project, and he had the sales side more than me, and so he was able to help out, and he was of course quite a charming person, so he could encourage people to join us and work with us, and we were quite lucky with all of our hires.
Did he join as like a co-founder, or were you still 100% shareholder?
I had the title of partner, but he was paid for every hour.
So you still owned 100% of the company?
Yeah.
Okay. And how long before you scaled? How long before you got 5, 10, 15, 20 employees?
Yeah, it happened quite quickly. Well, no, it's extremely organic growth. It's been very slow. I was looking at some graphs recently. I think even up to about 2015, 2016, we were only like a dozen people. We were relying heavily on contractors, but then it sort of started to take off. So I had a bit of a crisis in my life, which I don't talk about a lot. But my son got quite sick, so I took a 5-year sort of break from the business, and I was quite lucky. We had some of the leaders really step up, and we got growth in that.
Was that
period.
kind of more 2015 or a bit earlier, a bit later?
2012 through to 2017.
Okay, well, okay.
But then when I came
so you had
back,
to step away for 5 years to help with family?
Well, sort of. It was only really about a year and a half that I was kind of a year stuck in a hospital, and then about 6 months sort of after that I was out. But then I took a gig contracting.
Well, why did you take a gig contracting?
Well, I think my friends at the airport probably felt sorry for me, and they said, "I'll just come and do some contracting here." And so that's what I did. And
so contracting for Fast, or just?
Well, still through Fast Automation, but I was not active in the business. I was out of it. Just turning up, having a 9-to-5 job, and having friends, and being like an employee, and it was really nice. Really enjoyed it. And then it came time where I thought, right, what am I going to do? And went back into the business, and obviously ruffled everyone's feathers. But then,
how did you decide to get back into the business?
Yeah, so we're about 2017. A new CEO had come into the airport, and I thought I'd been there for about 5 years. A lot of people didn't like the new CEO, and they could see some changes were coming, and they were leaving, and it just felt like, people follow that sort of social proof, and they're like sheep, and they do things together. And I think I was just one of those guys that thought, well, this was fun for a while, but I don't see this being the rest of my life. And now's the time.
And who was running Fast? Was it still that partner guy, the sales guy?
No, he was long gone. He left in 2012, something like that. Even earlier. He was only around for a few years.
And was Fast giving you dividends at this stage? Was it making money, or was it just kind of breaking even?
Not as much as I was earning probably at the airport, but it was something.
And it had like a dozen people, right? So it obviously had like a cost base. So
yeah. We're always saying to be kind of just growing at a rate that consumes more than it gains, sort of thing. It was, but no, I wouldn't say it was too bad. It was good life. It was fun. But yeah, 2017. Then I'm back. So you asked who. So there was a few leaders in the business, and I hired a GM as soon as I came back as well, which was interesting. And then the guy who was kind of acting like a GM left straight away. And
well, why did he leave straight away? He was like, "Why is this guy come back?"
Yeah, I guess he thought, "Oh, right, now there's a GM here, and we've got this guy back who's
David's back
call the
again.
shots." And,
he's been gone for 5 years now. He's back.
Well, he was with us, I don't know, a little while, and I think he thought, I can do this for myself, and he did. He took a shot, and he left, and unfortunately, we ended up in court, and he had to settle for quite a big 6-figure sum, but I think he did all right out of it. He took some key clients, and good luck to him. So that happened, but then the growth started. Then you could see, we were really going well. But then COVID hit, and that was it. It just wrecked us. It was horrible. COVID was.
Then why did COVID affect you guys so much?
Yeah, that's a good question. So obviously, a lot of people just wanted to stay home. Some people completely imploded and, just panicked and were completely dysfunctional. Sorry, I should have switched that off. And customers were like, nobody can come to site. We were in the wrong industries, right? So the airport shut down completely. No contracts, no workers, no contractors. And that was pretty big to us. I think we had 6 people there and projects. AstraZeneca cancelled a $2.1 million project, which was pretty big to us. So we had to have a little bit of a stoush with them to, settle fairly. So that wasn't good because you got people working on things. One of our key clients was a company called Alsco, and they had next to nothing because no one was going to restaurants. There's no tablecloths. The hotels were not occupied, so they weren't doing all the bedding. I think they dropped a crazy amount of people. I don't want to quote the number, but so that all clammed up. We obviously not being able to go site to finish the projects you are working on, just clammed everything up. And there was a job, what do they call it? Like a compensation from the government. And I remember getting it and thinking,
what job
how
keeper,
pathetic
job
is
saver?
this? I've dropped like millions and you're giving me 350K. Right, great. And I honestly didn't think we were going to survive it. I just thought there's no way out of this, but somehow we did.
We probably should have spoken about this at the start. So what is like some of the projects that you'll do? Like what are robotics automation projects, just for people that don't know?
Yeah. So I guess there's 2 main strands, right? Well, there's different things. So AstraZeneca is process automation. So it's tanks, pipes, pumps, mixers, and you're blending things and you're mixing things to create something. So it's injectable drugs. So there's a lot of automation in that. There's a thing called usually at the heart of every project, a programmable logic controller, a PLC. And they're great. They take inputs, analyze them, produce outputs. So it might be waiting for a tank to fill and it turns off a fill valve, starts a mixer, adds in something else, etc., etc. So that's a fairly typical project. We've probably done over 20 suites for AstraZeneca in there. I don't know what, $4-5 million to AstraZeneca.
Okay, so it's kind of like hardware, software, process automation.
Yeah,
kind of thing with some robotics in it, I guess.
Yeah, but we just do the controls usually on the process stuff. Someone else is doing all of the fancy piping and tanks and the civil and the stuff like that. So that's process automation. Then there's something that's very big for us, and it's what I got into with Siemens Automation. Airports and Logistics Group is materials handling. So it's conveyors. So that's
conveyors and belts and
so they're big jobs. There's lots of conveyors. So we've been lucky recently as well because we've tried to do this sweet repeat thing where we do what we're good at and what we've got a lot of experience in. And so we've been partnering with conveyor companies, and that's been very successful. So I think the first quarter of this year there was $9 million in conveyor projects alone, which was pretty good. So big distribution centers, you order something online, it gets pulled out of an ASRS.
Oh, there's Amazon videos you watch where they've all got packages going everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All the distribution centers as well, they've got sorters, they're tracking, they divide them off and getting them into boxes, and it's a lot of technology in it. So that's a big part of it. And then there's the factory automation, which is more robotics. So deploying robots to do things. So we got a pretty interesting project. There's some new technologies around which are quite exciting. So there's these things called AMRs, autonomous mobile robots. So they're things that use SLAM, simultaneous locating and mapping, and they can just find their way around your factory, complete missions, pick things up, drop them off.
You see them in hospitals these days for like catering and that kind of stuff.
Thing. And they can use them for assembling things. So we have a contract at the moment which is assembling some military tech, which is quite secretive and exciting. And that's a 6-ton AMR or AGV. We also have another one which is a custom one that we're building, which can carry up to 17 tons for a steel company, and they want 60 of them if the pilot's successful. We have another one for a door company, which is moving things around. We have another one for a food and beverage company, which is going into 14 robot cells, and it drops off empty pallets and picks up the full ones. So
Yep. Okay.
that's the sort of robotic stuff.
And so how's growth been since COVID finished up?
Yeah,
So when
from a
did COVID?
revenue
COVID was
perspective,
23
it's
finished up, was it?
so we lock
Yeah.
ourselves away and we have a little retreat and we set some targets. And this year we're targeting so we're trying to get double-digit percentage growth every year. So it'll be 18.1, 20 something, and 22 for the next 3 years. So far, we're on track for the 18.1.
So what's made growth work? Like you went for so many years kind of flat, tiny bit up. How come it's worked so well over the last kind of post-COVID years?
So we do have year-on-year revenue growth every year for the last 7 years or something in a row, but our profit has been abysmal in some years. So what we've been very proud of is that we've never failed to deliver a project, but unfortunately, that's turned into a really slippery slope on some projects. So we've tried to do a lot of world first projects, and that's our thing. We try and say that we're unique because we'll do the really tough stuff,
It's
the
hard to
mission
do
critical
new
stuff.
stuff. It's very hard.
Yeah, so we've learned the hard way that sometimes people can't do what they think they can do. We trust a lot of people. It's one of our values. Um, but yeah, we've had some, I guess, not so great players that have taken on projects in our name and then just ran away. And then, we're left having to
You
deliver
got to
it.
complete it.
And
Though what's enabled the growth, right? Like you've obviously been upping your revenue over the last 7 years. How come you've succeeded in doing that? What was
so
your
our
thing?
strategy back in 2018 was to move into robotics, and I called it sexy tech. And so it's where we would have some of these enabling technologies and be able to transform businesses, be the SWAT team that goes in and fights for them and makes their business more efficient and better and able to compete and produce things for longer, for less, etc. And so the cobots were a driver of that. So now you've got robots that don't need all the safety. They're collaborative. They work alongside humans. They're easy to deploy. You can retrain them, even you.
But I mean, are you saying that the reason you're growing now is because of
So
the
I'm
tech?
getting there.
Yeah.
So we were very successful with that campaign. We hired a sales director. We had BDMs. We had telesales. We had a marketing guy. So we had this sort of $1 million sales team pursuing that. And pretty quickly, we won, I think it was 19, and then it jumped to 25 of these projects. And we thought, hang on, we better put the brakes on now. Our boots are full. We need to execute and deliver. And then we started to get into trouble. So I think we analyzed that a lot, and we had our 7 ways to win. But that was the initial growth driver, right? Suddenly we got this new blue ocean where we're probably one of the first ones there, particularly with some of the new technology. But unfortunately, we were floundering a little bit in the execution. And so then we pivoted, if you like, and said, well, we'll just hold on with that and just let that, figure itself out and get all of the strategies, the 7 ways to win in play. And we'll go back to what we know we're really good at, process control and logistics. And so we've had these sort of one wave dies and the other one comes sort of things. So that's allowed us to at least hold the revenue year-on-year growths, but obviously we've had some disasters profit-wise.
And you're just hoping the crests both meet at the same time at some point?
Well, when you watch the pie charts, it's it was 59% or something robotics, and now it's like 3. But we're on the cusp
Okay.
of going back into it, but we want to go back in on our terms, stuff we've done
In a
before.
profitable kind of job. Yeah. Okay, that kind of makes sense. I mean, your original question was, how do I make sure the company grows without me? Why do you want to be less involved? You seem so alive when you talk about this.
Thank you. That's surprising to hear because I feel like I'm very, boring and monotone about it. I suppose it's a little bit like winning at the casino or gambling or something. It obviously is a little bit of an addiction, and I'm not sure I would be happy being out of it, but I want to give it a try.
I mean, you kind of gave it a try for those 5 years, albeit under very different circumstances. Were you happier then?
I think day to day I was happier, but I felt like I had unfinished business, like the mountain hadn't been climbed, sort of thing. Yeah. Like I know that I would look back and go, oh, you pussied out, you didn't give it a shot, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've always find there's different reasons people want to exit. Excuse me. Let me just delve into yours, right? So you've probably said 15 times like how lucky you got. You got lucky with this, you got lucky with that, that guy felt bad for you, they gave you that, you got lucky with this contract, you got lucky with this job. And I reckon luck isn't this much, it's like this much. I reckon luck has very little to do with life. There is luck out there. I wouldn't argue that case. But let me just say, if you couldn't use the word lucky about why you've done so well, what word would you use?
Fortunate.
If you didn't use if you had no luck based, fortune's luck, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is the competency within you that has allowed you to succeed?
It's hard to say without using the luck word. I think um, it's not luck, but the ability to communicate and connect with people has helped a lot. Being able to connect with the right people, the people that have joined me have been, just very good and at the right time, and they're just really good people.
So often I find when people use the lucky word, the old word, there's one or two scenarios. One, which I don't think is the case in your scenario, it's false modesty. They just don't want to
Could be
go,
false
yeah, they don't
modesty.
want to go
Yeah.
tall poppy. Or the second thing, which I think might be more likely, is they actually don't know.
Oh yeah.
And that just becomes the catch-all. I don't know why this happened. I just got lucky. I don't know why this girl wanted to marry me. I just got lucky. I don't know why I got that pay rise. I just got lucky.
Yeah. Well, there's a bit of ego there, if you're going to say I'm fantastic and I'm great and I'm really good looking and that's why she wanted to marry me. And I just feel like that kind of talk's ugly.
Who taught you that?
Well, I think you kind of put the mirror up, don't you? And you think to yourself, yeah. Oh, you see people doing it and you think, yeah, what a wanker.
Mm.
Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, absolutely. It automatically makes it explicit. But who taught you that it's not great to self-congratulate yourself?
Maybe it comes from movies, like the underdog always wins, maybe. I don't know. I really don't know.
Often I find it's often someone, often it's parents, siblings, uncles, cousins, those kind of things. Or it might just be the culture in which you were born in, or the town that you were born in, or the town that you grew up in.
It's interesting you say that because my dad departed quite early, I guess, but he was entrepreneurial. He had a business, and then my mum's dad had a business, mobile photo services. Riding a motorbike around, taking pictures. He actually photographed the Rolling Stones and the Beatles and those kind of people. And then that business grew with his two sons, Baz and Bob. And then those two guys had separate businesses as well. And Baz is like, so he's died now, unfortunately, but he created that in quite a big business in a property in a major city. And then the other one, Bob, he's like crazy successful. He's got a collection of Aston Martins and hotels and bars. And so my sister has her own business. She's quite entrepreneurial and successful. My brother has a business and he's got big contracts doing things. So I think it was always just you have a business and be successful. Nobody really failed horribly.
So I mean, I get,
But
yeah,
I'm getting to the question here there. But when we all got together, nobody was talking about how great their business was or the family, events where, you keep quiet about your success. You don't talk about, that kind of stuff. So maybe it was family.
And what part of that influenced you to make sure you did the same thing? Did you see that growing up?
I don't
Family
know.
events
I'm
growing
clutching
up?
at straws here. I just don't think it's the right way to conduct yourself,
Yeah.
to try and.
So I agree you don't think it's the right way to conduct yourself, and I probably agree with you to that respect. I'm just trying to understand, why do you think like that?
Well, maybe you look at how other people view you, and you want them to view you, in a good light, not in a like,
And you think if you show off, it shows like false ego kind of thing, and it
I
doesn't
think
look
it's a
great?
form of insecurity. If you can't, give gratitude, and find a little bit of fortune in what's happened to you, then there's some, yeah, it's not you, it's never you, it's a team event.
Yeah. Okay. So, so I hear that, and I hear that that's it in the past, probably the family gatherings, that was just the norm in your family, to not be boastful or to not kind of take credit onto oneself. You often will give credit for why something happened somewhat externally, be it luck or that person did something or
Well,
right
this is
place, right time.
yeah, all thinking aloud though. I'd never really thought about that before.
So I tell you why that's important is I think it's phenomenally important to understand why did I succeed? And it's easy to just say luck, right? And if you say it enough times, you actually start to believe it. And I totally, like I said, luck plays a part, but it's 1%, it's not 99%. I think it plays a very, very small part in our success. And I'd love for you to know what about you made you succeed through all those things. So I think there's probably some common thread there. I have not figured that out yet, but I reckon there's a common thread there about
It's
what's made you succeed.
hard work.
just the best looking guy out there, right?
Yeah, and good looks, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is that common thread that's weaved you through all these different scenarios? Because probabilistically you were
I
not
think I'm
going
pretty
to.
confident. Like, I've noticed a lot of people aren't confident.
Mm,
Like, oh, that can never be done. That won't work. That kind of stuff. I'm like, come on, we've done way harder than this before. Let's go.
yeah. Okay, so let me pop down confidence.
I've probably been very lucky because
You can't use that word anymore.
I've never been, completely flawed. I mean, my son getting sick was pretty tough, but apart from that, I've always felt like, the grass is greener. It's coming. It's always there.
Yeah. Because the downside of not knowing truly why you succeed is you don't know what to do more of. Like it's super easy to figure out what you're bad at, right? Because you get immediate feedback and you realize I tried these types of robotics projects and they were first in the world and we didn't succeed because we didn't know the playing ground yet.
Mm.
But when you think I succeeded because of luck, it's harder to be like, oh, let me make sure I repeat that quality in
Yeah,
me.
yeah. I do feel like I'm just a complete idiot and I'm trying to figure out what works. And you throw enough, stuff at the wall, some of it sticks in the right spot. But more recently, you've got. I'm getting more data focused, and I'll say more recently, probably the last 5 or so years. And you can see that we're definitely very good at these kind of projects. So we call it the sweet, sweet, sweet repeat, which we pinched from Mike Logan, by the way. But
Great guy.
yeah, and so we look at that, and we also have got a lot more strategic as well. So we don't want to do things unless we see a strategic reason why we should. For instance, yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, it's a world's first, but we're going to now have that technology and we'll be the ones with it to sell and that sort of stuff. But we're pretty slow to the party in realizing all of this. But we're extremely good at logistics and process control. I think no one would beat us.
That's that core competency.
Yeah,
okay.
and now we're realizing that we can even do it better and then better again and better again with AI and having auto generation of design stuff. I really think we're going to get quite far ahead.
Okay. Let me throw something at you. Tell me how it lands. So if you think you succeed because of luck and you haven't actually quite figured out what's that real nugget of competence that I have, you don't, even though you said you're quite confident, you'll always feel like a very subtle undercurrent of imposter syndrome where.
Definitely.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a yes.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I'm pretending.
And by the way, that's completely common. Like I reckon 95% of people have it, and 5% lie about it.
Yeah, yeah, and you're in the meetings with all of your little tactics. Well, what would you do?
Because I got no idea.
What do you think we should do? Yeah, that all comes up. But yeah, I think also you do know quite often the right play. It's like sometimes. I don't think it's fair to say that there's not luck involved. Don't fully agree with that.
So I agree there's luck involved. I don't think it was the number one factor.
So you got to try really hard, right? So you're hiring someone, you got to think, right, people, that's really important. Like it's the most important thing you can do. There's all these quotes from all the great leaders, like number one things people. So you think, oh, I'm not just going to interview this guy and get lucky. You try really
Hmm.
hard. So we got a 12-step framework. We got our we do a very brief 15-minute interview. We try and rate them across this tasks frameworks, talent, attitude, skills, knowledge, and style. And, we try and use the top grading thing and the Pat Lencioni stuff. And then we do a more formal interview. We try shortlisting, the screening, the online screening is pretty full on. And then, hopefully you've got 3 or 4 really good ones to choose from. So you're maximizing your luck.
Yeah.
But
So
still a
I,
lot of things have to go right to get
yeah,
them
so a lot of
there.
things have to go right. But in that scenario, I'd be like, oh my God, you got a fantastic process. So
We
if you
still
got,
get it wrong every
yeah.
now and again too, though, right?
And look, I still get it wrong half the time. That's why my process is get really good at firing.
Yeah.
Because there's a limit to how good you can get at hiring. I think. I think it's very logarithmic very quickly. So I agree with that. Like that's probably you've built a great process, and that's improved your probability of success. I just don't think luck was the number one thing there. I think the process was number one, and probably luck
Yeah.
was 2, 3, or 4.
Yeah, so I guess where I'm heading with that is the harder you work and the more effort you put in, the luckier you get.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
He's best.
You're another guy that runs a business that's in the 0.001% of revenue bases in the country.
Yeah, you're good for my ego, but it always seems like a lot of hard work.
Oh, look, I've got no doubt there's a lot of hard work in it. I've got no doubt there's some luck involved in it. But what I think is, like I keep saying it, luck is like second or third or fourth order. I think there's a couple of first order things. It might be how hard you work. I think definitely communication, and probably communication with somebody that has deep technical expertise. Because often people who have deep technical expertise aren't great communicators. Like they often don't, those worlds often don't live together. I think it's one of those two things that are your core differentiator. I don't think it's luck. I think it's
I think
something
there's
like that.
also a real element of fear.
Explain fear.
Well, your radar's up all the time. Like, are we just going to get eaten alive by the next upstart that's somehow got a bit further along with the automated development of these solutions and the new technologies coming where, we'll all be the AI thing, like the massive layoffs.
Tesla
The
will have
SaaS,
robots that will automate everything.
yeah,
Or the SaaS apocalypse.
very good.
By the
Yeah.
way, SaaS, it's so real. It's totally happening.
Yeah.
It is totally happening.
So you think you can easily convince yourself the world's ending and there's not going to be a future and you've got to squirrel now as quickly as you can and the window's closing and I was looking at stats recently actually of foreclosures. It's taking off. It's exponentially rising.
I think we're going to be in a recession pretty soon. If we're
Definitely.
not already in one.
Yeah.
But we're getting away from the key point.
I'm doing my best.
You're trying really hard. So my challenge to you is, I reckon probably your core competency, obviously deeply technical, great communicator, which I said those worlds often don't exist together, and you work hard. If I was to say they're the 3 things you've done really well, could you use that lens to give you a lens about success? Would you add any more characteristics or remove any more characteristics?
Well, thank you. That's sounds incredibly complimentary.
But it's meant to be. No. It's meant to be a statement of fact, actually.
Yeah. I suppose I've always had a real passion for learning. Like, that's how I met you, right? So
yeah, of course, we were part of the Vistage group.
I like reading a lot. I love learning. I think that's what we're programmed to do, though, to learn, right? And it's something.
Not everybody, but some people are.
It feels really good when you read a book and you've picked up a few things. And you go, oh yeah, that's right. That's what's happening.
So you reckon it's learning, not confidence, not communication, not hard work? Or you reckon learning is one of those 4?
Well, fear, I think, is a very driving force.
So I don't think fear...
makes you want to learn to avoid death.
I think fear is a real secondary one.
Right.
In the sense that I reckon lots of people experience fear. Not everyone succeeds. So fear, totally get it. Everyone has it. But some people succeed and some people don't. And I'm trying to figure out in you, what is it that allows you to succeed? And my challenge to you is, I think it's that. I think it's...
apart from pure luck.
Yeah. So luck's 4th order.
Yeah.
We're not going to say that word again.
It does sound pretty stupid when you say it like that. Yeah.
Is it? Have we got it? Is it communication? Is it engineering knowledge and hard work? Is it those 3?
I think there's a huge buzz. Yeah, it is those 3. There's a huge buzz.
Tell me
though.
Before you go, tell me those three in your words.
Well, being hardworking is, is kind of the foundation. You can't just expect to get lucky without working hard.
Touche.
um, and you've got to be able to communicate with people. They got to get the vision. They've got to understand what you're trying to achieve. And there's so many good examples of that, like where people say the same sentence and it's got like 12 different meanings. That one, I did not say he stole the money. And then you just put the emphasis on the different words and it's got like 10 different meanings. I did not say he stole the money, obviously. And then that's something I did not say. He stole the money. You get it. So communication's pretty important.
And then technical knowledge was the third one that I
Well,
suggested.
obviously, I've always been technical. I do feel like I'm losing that though because I'm not technical enough now. Like the new technologies
But
there,
is
and
it
I'm trying really hard to
is
get
it one of
into
the
it.
reasons you've succeeded, your technical understanding?
Well, it's interesting when you interview, you know, technical people like principal engineers and stuff, and you try and see what they know, how little they know sometimes, and that makes me wonder: is it that I know a lot, or is it that the world's changed now and people don't need to know this stuff? That's very interesting to me.
You're not answering my question. Is that one of the
You
reasons you
said you
succeeded?
asked the question. I said all three,
Mm.
and then
So
you wanted me to put them in my words,
yeah.
which
So
I
technical
feel like I
understanding?
did.
Yeah, okay. Let's pop it in. Because I think what it is, it's good to be able to acknowledge what you're good at. Because often you'll find people go look for an exit because they want to do less of something. Or so a couple of reasons is one is they want to do less of something, right? I want to do less hours. I want to do less this. I want to do less dealing with people like this. Often they'll be like, I want to do more of something else. I want more beach. I want more travel. I want more time with my grandkids or my kids. Or it's that they're afraid of something. They're afraid they're about to get found out and they
Wow.
got to get out
So you've
quick.
covered the entire spectrum there.
Well, they're the three
So my
major scenarios.
dream,
Yeah, what's your dream?
for me, obviously after we've taken care of the kids and everything,
Yeah.
is to have a couple of nice beach houses and a rural property. And in the rural property, there's going to be like this Tony Stark shed, and I can just
And you
go
build
there
stuff?
and work.
So you want to go? So remember how you said you went from the farmhouse to the street house? You want to go back to the farmhouse and have your
Yeah.
own little lab there that you can build really cool
Yeah.
stuff?
I think that would be so much fun.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic, right?
Yeah.
And then if you had that environment, you'd be able to build what you want, create
Yeah,
what you
yeah. I've
want.
got patents on stuff that I've never built, and I'd really like to, and I just find it frustrating all the time going by, and I'm not building them.
Yeah. And so being free to your business will give you that mind space to do that. It'll give you the mind space to, or hopefully some dollars as well, to go buy these properties and go build this magical shed where you make all these really kind of cool things with Jarvis.
Yeah, I think the beach houses might be expensive, but the rural thing would be pretty easy.
Beach houses are very expensive these days, actually. Yeah. Everything's expensive.
Well, they're dropping now, which is good.
Okay. So what's the best way to accomplish that if you wanted to get the dream house? It sounds like it has to be a full exit, does it? To get like or could you do that off dividends?
Yeah. I get approached all the time by people wanting to buy the business, and I'm like, I'm not ready. I want to get squeaky clean, nice, profitable growth. And this year will be the first really good, clean year, I think. And then I've looked at mergers. So we got quite far down the road, merging part of my business with another business. But then I thought, oh, I don't like the idea of someone else telling me what to do with every dollar. So that didn't really get up. Then I thought about installing a CEO, which is what the equity partners would want to do anyway. And I think that would be a real boost for the business, having a proper CEO that knows how to do CEO stuff. That would be good.
Yep, it's a different skill.
Someone like you, maybe. I don't know.
You never know. Maybe in a future life.
Maybe in the next life. Yeah. So then of course the full exit is nice and easy and clean, and it's just probably the easiest way forward. But I'd imagine, hopefully, if we can stay on our current trajectory, and AI, and there's no black swan event that gets us, it won't be too far away. Maybe 3 years or less.
So let me
Full
challenge
exit.
it. Right. So I reckon the goal shouldn't be, how do I make sure my company still grows without me? I wonder whether the goal should be is how do I set this company up to have a fantastic exit in 3 years?
Yeah. So the thoughts that are running through my head right now is, oh my God, the staff are going to listen to this and freak out.
Mm,
But it's an exit isn't the end of the business.
yeah.
It's just how you get it running smoothly and nicely and having its next
And
journey.
and I feel like every company should run as if they're exiting in 3 years. Like you should always think,
Yeah.
now if I'm
Yeah.
going to exit in 3 years, what do I want to invest in, not invest in? Because otherwise you invest in decadal things, which real companies don't do anymore, or you invest very, very short term.
Yeah.
But I think like 3 years is like a very good time horizon.
Yeah, but what's really exciting is I feel like we get so much more gains every quarter, even not every year.
Hmm.
Like we find this and that's better, and then we do that and that's better, and now it's like somebody else is going to get all that.
So it may be a never exit, right? But it
Maybe.
might it might just be like every year. Let me just reset my thinking for the next 3 years. I want to exit, or maybe the next 2 years, the next 4 years, whatever the horizon
Yeah.
is. But just to constantly run the business as if you're planning for an exit.
Yeah, I agree, and that's what we're doing. We got good dashboards, we got good data, we got lots of graphs, we got stuff that's getting us more and more engaged.
Yeah.
And there's no one now in the leadership team that's disagreeing. They have healthy discussions, and it's all
Yep.
positive.
Fantastic. Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah, I think it's on a good trajectory, and that is definitely what's happening. Everybody's moving all the graphs in the right direction,
Yep.
which is like preparing for an exit.
So then, if that's kind of working, that's the direction you're in. Why try to remove yourself or have the business be less reliant on you? Because my challenge to you would be, I reckon one of the core reasons you're succeeding so well is you have that unique skill of communication and engineering expertise.
I do feel like I'm a bit too old now, though.
You'd be, how old are the people you're selling to?
Yeah, often a similar age, but I'm definitely getting up towards the top of the range, top of the barrel. Um, yeah, and and I'm just was reading a book last night that's saying you should work right until you die
Yeah.
because it's very good for your brain. But I don't know. I feel like there's another chapter to go.
Yeah. I don't agree with that. I reckon working full time's a complete scam. It's
Yeah,
made
yeah, yeah,
it's made by the man to just get you to do what you're supposed to do in society.
yeah. I think it's a little bit different working as an owner, though. Anyway,
Yeah.
I could disagree with you on one thing.
Yeah, totally. Look, I mean, I think, I'm an owner of my small little business. You're an owner of your business, but my business I've set up around my lifestyle. So I'm running a business that gives me the lifestyle that I want. Not the other way around. My
Yeah,
lifestyle is not bending to the business. The business is bending to me.
yeah. I couldn't think of anything better. Like, it'd be so cool.
It's a perfect scam.
Like,
I don't know why everyone doesn't
I
do
think
it.
Tim Ferriss has got it made. Who's that other guy with
Yeah,
Modern Wisdom? Oh, how cool would it be just speaking to cool people?
yeah.
Not that I'm cool, but
You're a
this
fantastic
is
cool person.
charity work.
So, and you didn't get lucky by getting on here, and I didn't just feel sorry for you. So, question: how do I make sure the company grows without me? Maybe we change that question because I don't think it's that the company grows without you. Maybe it's how do I? If you're already preparing for an exit, you're being very efficient. That's all great stuff, right? And they'll use AI to rationalize your cost base and get more efficient and win more work. Maybe it's how do I make sure that I do what I'm really, really good at for the next couple of years.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what we're doing. We diluted down the robotics. We're doubling up on the logistics. We're increasing the process control.
By you, I mean you personally,
Me,
not the organization.
you don't have as much impact when things get bigger. I mean, I've got
It
the
dilutes.
vision,
Yeah, it dilutes.
the
Yeah.
values, the purpose, the mission, the targets, the engagement piece, the people, the culture. I do that, but I can't. I wish I could, but I can't go and code for 10 hours on a site or anything. So,
Yeah, but I think if you let me say it another way. I reckon when you pitch work to a new client, I reckon you have a better success rate than the average guy.
yeah, I'll keep doing that. I love meeting clients. It's great.
Because you love it because you're great at it. it gives you a chance to be deeply technical, and it lets you communicate with
Well, it doesn't
somebody.
always work. Sometimes I think, you know, what an idiot. Like, I don't like that guy or something. Something goes wrong sometimes.
Well, they're probably objectively wrong.
Yeah,
They're objectively
I
wrong.
think so.
But I reckon that's obviously where you have the most fun, because that's what you're kind of great at.
Yeah,
So maybe that's the goal for the next couple of years. Because
I
I
like that.
reckon, because my 2 cents will be is that's what will be the best thing to set you up for an exit, success, general growth.
What I really like about that is it's kind of what I'm doing, which
Mm.
is good. It's affirming.
And is that maybe one of the reasons for your success over the last couple of years through this growth, ignoring profit? Because profit, yeah, it's a bit more complex, right? Because you're changing what you're doing and you're learning stuff and you're investing in growth. But is that one of the reasons for your growth that you're doing more of this? You're doing more of the communication.
Without a doubt, yeah. And it's something crazy like you know, I had a pretty big sales team, and I don't anymore, and our sales are much better than they were.
Don't have that $1 million sales costs anymore.
No, we don't. We still got a few, but yeah.
Yeah. So did you consciously know that's what you're doing? So did you consciously know that's what's leading to your success?
You make it sound like there's a point in time that's going to get mentioned, but yeah, definitely. And every week that goes by, you realize that.
Yeah.
But also, I do feel like, when we don't get sales, it is sometimes seasonal, and sometimes it's political. People clam up and wonder what's happening. Like there's a war or
Yeah.
an election or whatever. You do start to question yourself quite heavily and think, oh God, have I stuffed this up? Should I have some professionals in here doing this and that kind of thing? So you do wear a heavy coat when you
I think
when
what
you
you'll
take the lead.
find is that as long as you're doing stuff you're great at, a professional probably won't do it any better. Like I said, you're great at the hard work. Given like every great founder, works hard, right? I'm yet to meet a great founder who doesn't work hard. I've not met
But you
them.
still got that imposter syndrome, so you still got that self-doubt sometimes where you think, well, would somebody else have done this and gone and done even better?
But I think that's where you want to be able to separate what the mind is telling you to what is actual reality. And those two worlds rarely overlap, but when they do, you want to be able to tell the difference between the two. So I could, for example, objectively tell you that, hey, you're a great communicator, you're a great engineer, buddy them up together, you become a great salesperson of engineering complicated things, right? Because you can go to a client, you can hear what they're saying, build some mental model, come back with a solution next week, and explain that back to them. I reckon you cannot get an external professional that would be as good as you. I reckon you get an external professional that would be a great finance person or a CEO or an ops manager or a coder. And I reckon perhaps the model to do is to very, very consciously is only get the experts around you that do the stuff you're not as great at. So you can do the stuff that you have that comparative advantage in.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. The thing that comes up when you say that, though, is how do I exit then if I've become the key person in this money making machine?
Well, when you're in a money making machine, you have a lot more choices, right? So step one, get in that money making machine.
Yeah.
Like, it's 20 mil, get it to 30, get it to 40, drop off a whole bunch of cash profit down the bottom.
Yeah.
And once you have a whole bunch of profit, you can actually start experimenting with people to come supplement your role, take over your role.
Yeah.
That might be 12, 18, 24 months away.
Yep. I do want to replace myself, though. I think that's the main thing.
I think you want to replace yourself, but I think it might be a couple of years away.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, to get you to where you're going to replace yourself is actually the worst way to replace yourself right now is to replace yourself. And what I mean by that is if you got someone else to do your job,
train wreck.
It'll be you get zero sales.
Yeah.
And then your 18 mil revenue will suddenly drop.
But you need to I think you need to be working alongside them and coaching them and helping them for a good while, like 6 months or so.
So I reckon it's probably a year to get someone up to speed. It's probably 6 months. You get the first one wrong, you fire them, you get a second person because you didn't get lucky with the first guy. But I reckon for the next 2 years to give yourself that buffer, like that cash blanket around you, I think it's probably just you doing it.
Yeah, well,
I think
it is now. Yeah.
It's you rock starring it. sign customers up, sell great solutions, help design, the pre-sales version of design before the actual builders go and build it. And then in 24 months, figure out who this person is that will slowly free you up.
Hmm.
Because the problem I've seen this in a couple of companies I've been on the boards of as well, is where founders exit too early. And often they'll exit because they don't attribute success to themselves. They attribute success to something external. And when something external goes wrong, they attribute failure to themselves.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. All the good stuff is external.
Yeah,
All
I
the
get it.
crappy stuff is internal.
Mm.
And what happens is you'll go recruit somebody else. And, one example, they recruited another CEO on. This person then went off and traveled for a couple of years, let someone else run their business. And they just happened to recruit a narcissist who then totally used that against that founder and just reinforce you're horrible at your job, everyone hates you, and all those kind of things as well.
Sounds horrible.
It was a horrible place for that guy to be. Luckily, it's a lot better now. He's back in, and the narcissist is gone. Hopefully, they don't listen. But that's the risk of it if you don't attribute success to something internal. Let me say that. That's the risk if you always attribute success to something external and always attribute failure to something internal.
Yeah.
You want to make them both internal.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think, I don't know if luck is 1% or 50%. It's not 100. It's not a 99. Pick a number. But I reckon the other 50% that you control, that's within your locus of control, that's what you want to attribute success to.
Yeah.
And that's why I think you don't give up the sales, which we probably wouldn't do anyway. You don't give up the sales yet. Hang on to it. Master it. And someone of your intellect, I'll tell you what you should be able to do, I'm sure you can, is systematize it.
Yeah. Got that going on.
So figure out because you kind of said before, how do I get technical people? You need technical people because you haven't systematized it. Like McDonald's does not employ chefs. They don't, right? They employ 15-year-olds.
I think that, the sales stuff's good. But it's that connection that you can't really, you can have a bit of a system to it, but that, I like to get the customers on board and then be with them like the only point of contact for like a while, maybe 3 months, not for the project, but for the future work.
Yeah.
Or for the projects. Yeah. And that's something that's a little bit not fully systemized, I guess.
So you might not systemize how you teach someone that, but you might be able to systematize how do you screen for that? How do I figure out how to recruit the right kind of people that would fit that mold? So my greatest example is like Salesforce. Do you guys use Salesforce or use Salesforce in the past?
We're on HubSpot.
HubSpot. Have you used Salesforce in the past or bought from them?
No.
No. Well, try it at some point. Go to their website, pop in an inquiry, and it will be preordained you're going to buy Salesforce. Everything in that organization
It's just all about it,
is forced around getting you signed up. Because they've completely systematized how they onboard their marketing people, their salespeople, and that's why they've probably got thousands of salespeople now.
Yeah.
So I think just for you, it might just be screening right now and systematizing some of the processes.
Yeah.
But that's a problem in 2 years' time. It's not a problem today.
Yeah. No.
Today's problem is just revenue and growth and more sales.
Yeah, I think we're on that journey.
Yeah.
So it's good to hear it.
And then the last part I'll add to that is being able to attribute what leads to success in your role. Like, what about it that you do that made that person sign up and that person sign up? Oh, that person didn't. I wonder why. Did I not qualify right? Did I get the pricing wrong? Was the solution wrong? Were they never going to buy? Because as you narrow that down, you'll just get whatever mental model or system you've built. It will just get closer to what is actual reality. And these will be all these little nuggets that you'll probably picked up in the last 25 years, right? And you'll pick up in the next couple of years as you start to plan to get less hands-on.
Yeah. It's just a complete flowchart of this, if this, then that.
There's a beautiful diagram there, I'm sure. I can just picture like an A1 piece of paper on your wall.
Yeah. A1, wow, yeah.
Oh, A0, sorry. A have to be A0.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's pretty good advice. Thank you, Saurabh.
Yeah. So our original question was, how do I make sure the company grows without me? What's your takeaway from the chat today?
Well, the surprising one is that I'm not lucky. But I really want to sit and sit with that and
Ponder
think
that.
about it quite a bit. And that's quite a big takeaway for me, I think. I didn't realize my language was that skewed towards being lucky. So what does that mean about me? So that's pretty good. And then I think I am decided that I do want to exit one way or another. So I think that's right. And I think we got some good affirmation that we're doing the right things. You know, we're using the EOS framework, and we're looking at the indicators, and we're got our rocks, and we're implementing them, and we've got good traction on all of that, and it's working. I think the staying with the critical things like sales is obviously very important, and then systemizing it to make sure that I can get out still is good.
Yep. Brilliant. Well, one way we always close off on this podcast, or us all the guests, what is something you've always known to be true that later on you actually found out wasn't?
You should send that out in the pre-notes.
Oh, it's better.
Something you've
Better
always
always do
known
ad
to
hoc.
be true that you
Later on, you found out wasn't,
found out that it wasn't.
and you can't say that it was all luck. You found out it wasn't the case.
Something you always thought to be true that later on you found out it wasn't. Well, the one thing that I want to say, just because a few people might watch this, and it's pretty sexist, but I think it might be a little bit
Go
of
for it.
gold for people, that, women like men just as much as men like women. And I think that's something I wish I knew sooner, but I always thought to be, the opposite. It's like you're trying to get them to do you a favor, come on this date with me or whatever, but they're actually also out there.
Didn't know that was a thing. There you go. I've
Yeah.
learned something new as well.
Yeah. I want something better than that, though. What did I always think was true that I
Have a
found out
second shot.
wasn't? Yeah. I have to cut the silence. I'm struggling. What have you got?
Oh, I've got so many.
Have you?
They're probably my biggest one. Actually, no one's ever asked me. My biggest one, I always thought hard work trumps everything. And I think hard work's important, but I think it's a secondary thing as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like these billion-dollar startups that have done like 3 months' work.
Pre-revenue.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it. Sorry, mate.
Okay.
I'm coming
Brilliant.
up blank.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Thanks
Enjoyed
for
it.
all of the advice.
Absolute
Good luck,
pleasure.
everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do want to be a guest, make sure you hit me up and do follow me on socials, and make sure you check out future episodes. Thanks, guys.